Well, welcome to the Todd Coconato Show. Is it 0 day in Los Angeles? We are witnessing something that is absolutely unprecedented, devastating. I almost have no words, but I'm going to try to do my best to report on this. As many of you know, I come from Los Angeles, pastored there for a while, many years, and we know many, many folks. And in fact, the last 24 hours, I've been on the phone with friends, dear friends, ministers, that have lost their homes. And so we're dealing with all this right now. And at the end of the video, I'll give you an option if you want to help with some of the relief, because we are going to, as a ministry, send a relief package to those families that we know personally that have lost everything with some donations. But friends, we got to talk about this. I believe we're at war. And I know that some people are going to think that's a conspiracy to say these are just, global warming and climate change. And, that's what happens. But I would beg to differ. In fact, I think many of you with discernment know that there's a lot more going on. If you recall, just in the last few years, we've seen food processing plants go on fire. We've seen train derailments. Remember that? Up there in Ohio, was it East Palestine? Just crazy things that we've seen that, by themselves are big deals. But when you put them together, it sure seems like we're in a fifth generation war. And who are the culprits behind this? Is it the deep state? Is it the globalists? Is it the elites? Is it a combination of corporation and clandestine operations and operators and governments and, kind of everybody combined that's really coming against the United States of America? And meanwhile, the citizenry doesn't even realize it's happening. Could that be happening? Well, I think there's a real possibility that could be. Could it be China? Could it be Russia? Could it be these countries combining their efforts against the United States of America? Could there be players in our own government, people like Joe Biden and his son and others that maybe are intentionally looking the other way? We had drones flying over sensitive military sites within the last few weeks over, critical infrastructure. It almost seems overwhelming, but when you put all the data points together, it sure seems like something very nefarious is going on. So today we're going to kind of report on what's happened in the last 24 hours. And we did our best to get this information out to you as soon as possible. We've been putting out a lot of very important posts on social media. If you don't follow me on X, please follow me on X. It's very simple. It's my name, at Todd Coconato. And that is the free speech site for the most part, where we're posting the most of, these videos and things as they come in, as reports come in. I'm also, of course, posting it on Facebook, on my personal page, and on my public page, which is at Real Todd Coconato. But we're trying to get the information out as quick as it comes in. There's a lot of information coming in. We want to verify it. We want to make sure it's not false. There were some AI generated photos that were going around the internet of the Hollywood sign and a few other things. So we want to make sure that we do put out real information as it comes in. And so anyways, let's go ahead and get to this first clip where we have incoming 47th president Donald Trump, who just in a few days, God willing, we got to keep praying, saints. We got to pray this through, will be inaugurated. And it couldn't happen fast enough. As the world is on fire, geopolitically, we got the wars raging around the world in Eastern Ukraine. We have, in Eastern Europe, and in the Middle East. And of course, we have China saber rattling, North Korea saber rattling, all kinds of things happening on the world stage with the BRICS. And then right here at home, there's just so many things happening. Joe Biden just sent out a package, I believe it was in the tune of like 500 million, just another one. He's been doing these almost every couple of weeks here, towards Ukraine, while you still have people in North Carolina that don't have any place to even lay their head. It's unbelievable what's happening. And the weather's very cold here in the South right now. And some of these people don't even have housing and all the supplies that they need just to live. Thank God for the donations of the saints and the churches and the nonprofit organizations that have stepped up, like Samaritan's Purse and Anchor Ridge and so many other of our friends. But it's devastating to see what they're going through, because it's very cold right here in the South right now. And they still, don't have houses and are in, either makeshift temporary residence and tiny homes and tents. And it is cold. It is very cold. We're talking about the 30s and even below sometimes at night. So while that's happening, you got Joe Biden, or whoever's running the country, is probably not him, sending over millions of dollars continually to Ukraine. And now you have people in Los Angeles that are without, homes in the tune of over 2,000. We're hearing is the latest. Pacific Palisades looks like Maui, very suspect. Is it the same thing that happened in Maui? So let's go ahead and roll this warning from Donald Trump. I believe he was on a podcast when he was doing this, where he was laying out the problems with what's been going on in, the California area when it comes to the fires and the water. Let's go ahead and roll that right now.
They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why do you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land. Water for your forests. Your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen and are like.
Unbelievable. So President Trump's been warning, and this isn't the first time. If you recall, during his first term, he went to California during fires. I remember this because I was there and walked them with Governor Gavin Newsom, who was still the governor at that time. And many people are now calling for Governor Newsom's resignation. I think it's coming. I think something's going to happen here, just like what just happened with Trudeau, because people are fed up with the lack of leadership. If anything, I think this is going to greatly hurt his future political career, which he's a darling of the left and somebody that they've even seen as a potential president. But who knows? Because it seems like these people don't care. Seems like even when it's the worst. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. San Francisco's on fire. That's her district. And it seems like people haven't cared, so maybe the left just doesn't care. Unbelievable to think that, but they always seem to make excuses. You look at the LA fire chief. I didn't put it in any of the videos, but certainly seems like a DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion hire. You got an LGBT woman. Her people around her are more concerned about walking in the gay pride parade. It seems than having their department really ready for this type of incident. Partnering with the governor and the mayor of Los Angeles. And there's some documents that are floating around online, which I think are, real, that show that she did ask for additional funding. I guess there was some funding cuts to the LA Fire Department, and she did warn that there were some issues that she saw, But nevertheless, we're in this insane situation where we are supposed to be the richest, most powerful country in the world. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but, we're supposed to be the superpower of the world. And yet, for whatever reason, we have this going on in, what is California, like the fourth largest economy in the world? And they can't seem to get rid of their dead leaves, as President Trump was just talking about. So he's been warning. Like I said, we can't get him in there quick enough. But look what's happening. Unbelievable. We're going to now go to some more. Every foot, brace yourselves, because the footage today is going to be real hard to watch. And I was up all night last night. I barely slept because, this is my old city, and, we love LA and we love the people in California. And so this is very hard for us to watch. I've lived through a few of these fires. We used to live in the hills of Porter Ranch, and there was a few times when the fires came right up to where we lived. We had to evacuate. I remember several times, even when I was married, having to evacuate, and there was one time many, many years ago, they probably wouldn't allow this to happen now, but when I was a child, where I went up into the hills in the Santa Susana Mountains right there in Chatsworth, and actually held a hose with a whole line of firefighters and, got to get up close and see what it's like. Now, again, they probably wouldn't allow that to happen today, but at that time, I think they were a little more loose when it came to the rules. But it's unbelievable to see how these fires spread and what actually happens during these types of scenarios. So we want to be praying for the first responders. Please pray for these firemen and women. They're heroes. They're just caught up in this whole thing, but they're putting their lives on the line. But let's go ahead and roll this footage, which is absolutely unbelievable.
What in the world? The firemen don't have hoses, so they're like literally using purses, women's handbags, filling up women's handbags to put out fires. Look at this. What in the world? LAFD fire department using women's handbags to put out fires. What is going on here? Have you guys ever seen this in your life? Look.
Yeah, and by the way, this is confirmed. So the water's out. I mean, I want to read, if you don't mind, I'm going to look down for a minute here, but I want to read a post that I put up with just some facts that we've been able to confirm every one of these things. I called it 0 Day Los Angeles. Let me just read this for you real quick. Reports now claim that fires are the most devastating and catastrophic fires on record with no end in sight. Now, I do believe they have some containment to, I think there's 5 major fires that have been going on, and 2 or 3 of them have some containment level now, but there's still some that have no containment, at least as I'm filming this report. Civilians are being filmed lighting fires in parts of Los Angeles. We're going to show you that in just a minute. Reports of looting being called into the LAPD from various parts of the city, with first responders inundated. And let me just talk about this. During the LA riots, the first responders were inundated. They could not respond to the calls coming in. During the earthquake in Northridge, I was there. They're totally inundated. First responders, they couldn't respond. And that's the type of scenario that's happening right now, at least with LA Fire. But I think LAPD is also inundated because of the looting and all the different things that are being reported. 5 major fires. We just talked about that. The fire hydrants reportedly out of water as fire departments scramble to contain structure fires around the city. Can you imagine fire hydrants out of water? And that's what President Trump was just saying. Now, Israel, very similar topography, if you've ever been there, to Los Angeles, they have these desalinization plants along the coast of Israel. California could have done this. And even if they had water shortage, they could have had a desalinization plant taking ocean water, taking the salt out and using that water for various things, irrigation and all the different things that they need it for. On top of that, as President Trump talked about, there's enough water coming down from the Rocky Mountains, the Colorado River, all these different things. And what happens is it gets routed into the ocean. So there is the LA aqueduct system, thank God. And that's how people in Los Angeles even get water. And that's one of the biggest projects that America's ever had. It's a historic project. But the thing is that a lot of the water that they could be using for drinking and irrigation is, just routed into the ocean, wasted. And I'm told it's for the smelt. So they're trying to save the smelt. So this is what the environmentalists, just wacky people, are doing. And now that we have this catastrophic situation, over 2,000 plus homes and businesses destroyed. City officials don't have answers as report surface of extremist management and prior concerns raised about funding allocation. We talked about that just a minute ago. Calls for Governor Newsom to resign grow louder. President Trump warned multiple times. We just played that. National Guard has been mobilized. Iconic buildings destroyed. The Getty Villa, which I'm not sure the current state of it, but I saw that the flames were encroaching on it. I think there's at least a part of it that's been affected. Maybe the whole thing is gone. You go down the Pacific Coast Highway. I mean, all these iconic buildings and structures destroyed, multi-million-dollar homes destroyed, Pacific Palisades destroyed. You have iconic structures gone, just gone. And if you remember J. Paul Getty, that was his original villa. He was an oil tycoon, one of the people that really made the United States, the great power that it is today because of Standard Oil and all the different oil many, many years ago. That's how America became wealthy. And President Trump is trying to bring back, the energy sector and bolster the energy sector. You have multiple lives have been lost. Los Angeles residents left without help and hope as morale in the city plummets. I think we're going to see another escape of Los Angeles. I think a lot of people are going to say, I'm done. I got to get out of here. And so we're probably going to see thousands of more residents leave Los Angeles for places like Tennessee and Texas and different places, Arizona. The world watches as images of America's second largest city smoldering flood social media. So this is the second largest city in America. So let's just talk about this. I hate to even say this, but could you imagine if something catastrophic were to happen in New York right now? That would be America's biggest and second biggest city in ruins in some part of the city. I mean, this is crazy, friends, and we got to be praying because we're in a war right now. The world watches as images of America. Yeah, I just read that. Biden sends $500 million to Ukraine. I just talked about that. While North Carolina and Los Angeles residents suffer in extreme conditions during winter months, multiple Hollywood stars' homes destroyed. There's people that have listed out all the celebrities who have lost homes, and some are pretty big names. Thousands and thousands of residents lose everything. So with that, let's go ahead and show you this next clip. I think this is the one of David Muir. This is evacuation lady. Let's go ahead and show this.
Are you evacuating? Are you okay? Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah, I just leave my car right there.
Where's your car?
The cop said you have to leave, and I leave my car right there because.
So, what happened?
There's a lot of fire right there. That's why the people coming. We leave the car. And
they said to get out of your car? Okay. Did they tell you to get out of your car?
So they just leave their cars.
We had those people walking down the street
because the fire came right down to the road, and the fire department came up and said, get out of your cars now, because the fires were right up against the cars.
Comes another group of people. Hi. Were you guys told to get out of your cars as well? How far up were you?
At the corner of Palisades Drive and Sunset. We had to all get out of our cars.
Okay, and did you see, I can walk with you, did you see the flames coming?
Oh, yeah. The home tree was on fire in the corner. Oh, so it's really bad.
All right, where are you headed now?
I think towards the water, possibly.
Okay, all right. And how close were the flames to your home? What happened?
Right there. Oh, it's right there. The flame. I mean, it's right there. Right there. Right now. It's on the side of the hill. We don't know what's going on. We can see the home from the sunset. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Stay put. I think so. All right. So it's kind of chaotic here, to say the least. We've got people jumping into cars. They were told up the road to get out of their car. So people are stepping in and helping. Sir, they want you to get in the car. You can keep going. Do you know them?
Yes, they're my neighbors.
Okay. And so you're helping out?
Yes.
Saying this is an evacuation order. Get down toward the beach. They've repeated it several times. You see all these cars, the police cars clearing people out, shouting on the loudspeakers to get out. You can see on the side of the roads people walking down, covering their faces. So something's happening right above us. I think the fire is just right there, but again, I can't read the sign, and my IFB has fallen out of my ear again. But again, very scary situation here. Very, very windy. Now they're turning around, going back that way, but here's some more people. It looks like they had to evacuate quickly. No? Okay. All right. They're trying to get out as well. And now more police cars have their sirens on and are zooming up. But as you can see, it's just very, very hard to see what's going on beyond the lights.
So can you imagine here in the United States of America, it's like refugees, they're leaving their cars, coming down with just a few things that they can grab from their home, a few valuables. By the way, these are multi-million-dollar homes. These are not, I'm talking like mega mansions and very expensive homes. This is the elite real estate area of Los Angeles, Pacific Palisades, right there along Malibu and PCH. These are very high level homes when it comes to real estate and, just how much they're worth. I mean, probably some of the most expensive real estate in the country. So these folks are losing everything. These homes are magnificent. They're gorgeous, gorgeous homes. And I'm not really sure why the first responders would say, leave your vehicle. I mean, it seems like, they would just direct traffic real quickly to get out of there. I'm assuming that traffic was so backed up that they didn't have any other option. Maybe that's the case because we know that sometimes traffic in LA is just so insane you can't move. Apparently they wanted to get these people out of there and the traffic wasn't moving, but for whatever reason they told them to leave their cars. So here are these people like refugees walking down the street with just a few things that they could grab. Unbelievable. Now I want to show you David Muir, I believe his name is. He is a anchor for, I think it's ABC News, one of the most well-known anchors in the country. But look at this guy. It's just unbelievable. You got to see this video.
There's no shopping, a place to eat. And as you can see here behind me, it's been completely wiped away. There are still flames burning from multiple buildings here and smoke rising from the ash. Again, this is where the community would be at a time of...
Sometimes you got to laugh. I mean, so here's a guy in a situation where, like I said, people are losing everything that they own. It's an absolute emergency catastrophe. And, you got to make sure that my suit is fitted here. My little, unbelievable, unbelievable. Let's go to the next one here because this shows, it looks like a war zone. Many people are saying this is not Gaza. This is Los Angeles. So let's go ahead and look at this video right now. So this is Pacific Coast Highway, if you've ever been in Los Angeles. And Pacific Coast Highway is right along the water. It's the edge of our continent to the Pacific Ocean. And these homes are multi-million dollar homes. Many celebrities have homes there. Some have summer homes. Some actually live there. The whole thing is just gone. The whole thing is just gone. Which a lot of people are trying to figure out how it jumped the road and got over there. I've never seen anything like this before. It kind of mirrors and looks a lot like what happened in Maui. And if you recall, people were stranded in Maui. They were told to leave their vehicles. The vehicles left smoldering, homes left smoldering, just like that. There's a lot of eerily reminiscent things to what happened in Maui. And remember some of the stories online that I know many of you know well about the blue roofs and, just things that were very suspect and why that particular part of the island was hit. And some people say that, there's 15-minute cities, and that's verifiable, where they're trying to put in these 15-minute smart cities. And it's very interesting to look at some of the companies that are investing in these areas and other areas like in, the Carolinas, where they say it's potential like lithium mines and rare earth minerals that are in these areas. Could they be trying to get folks out of these areas because of that? A lot of people speculate that's the reason. Some people are saying that this has been done by drones. Other people are saying that it's being done by something called a direct energy weapon, or the short word for it is DEW. Some people are saying it's just arson. But nevertheless, most people with discernment feel like something very nefarious is going on here, and that this isn't just happenstance. This isn't just coincidental. Let's just recap. So just a few weeks ago, we had the whole drone thing, right? I mean, there were drones everywhere. Everybody's reporting on drones. Then all of a sudden, that story kind of goes away. Then we have 2 terror attacks on New Year's Day. Okay. And same day, very, very weird, terror attacks. The people involved, some people think maybe the guy in Vegas was a patsy. Maybe there was more to the story. Maybe he was trying to, bring out this information about these drones, which he claimed in an email, I believe. The Sean Ryan Show, which is a podcast, reported on the fact that they felt that, he was trying to bring attention to the fact that these drones were super high-tech weaponry systems that could carry payloads and could potentially be from China. That's very interesting. And it seems like that bomb that was in that cyber truck was more or less just, fireworks, even though there was some people that were injured. Could have been far worse, especially if the man was a former Delta Force. Could that man have not died like they say he did? Could he be in hiding somewhere? We don't know. There's just so many different stories going out. I don't know if you saw that Sean Ryan episode, but it was very interesting. And by the way, there was a woman just a few weeks before on the Sean Ryan Show. I think she's been on there 3 times. I forget her name off the top of my head, but she had been warning about potential terror attacks and cells being in the United States. And then it happened. So, you got to remember, you had the drones, you had the terror attacks. Now you have this situation in LA. Is there going to be another major event before even the inauguration? We got to keep praying. And I'm not saying any of this to be fearful. I'm saying it as a watchman. I'm saying it as a person that cares for our country and for our freedom and the fact that we could be in a 5th generational warfare environment, which I talked about at the top of the show. So let's go ahead and watch the next video and then I'll comment on it.
Former LA mayoral candidate and real estate developer Rick Caruso criticizing the city's response to the windstorm and fires. He says officials should have been more prepared.
The real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spread so quickly. And the second is you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
Despite what you have heard from Caruso, no firefighters have told us that they are running out of water.
And let's go out to Gigi Graciette. She is live in Pacific Palisades. I know your signal's not the best, but Gigi, what can you tell us?
Well, firefighters have told me they have no water on this block, and you may be able to make out the ember storm that we're in the middle of right now. This house going to be a total loss. They have no water to put on this fire. They are standing by because they're trying to save the home that is next to it.
No water. Yeah, I know. No one's saying there's no. Remember the reporting? I think it was from CNN. Mostly peaceful protest, and you got the whole thing burning, behind them. Mostly peaceful protest. Oh, no one's telling us there's no water. Meanwhile, you got the reporter right there. Actually, they're telling me there's no water. We just saw in the beginning of the show here where people were using a purse to try to scoop up water. It's not funny. None of it's funny. It's just what's funny is just how insane these people are. How fake the reporting is in so many instances. And I think that's why their ratings are in the tank, why so many of these news organizations are just hemorrhaging viewers, why so many people are coming to shows like this. And we appreciate you, by the way. And my producer, Matt's putting this show together. But I got to tell you, we need your help because, we don't have the big budgets that the mainstream corporate media have. We're on a shoestring budget here, but we're trying to get this information out to bring awareness and to help folks. We're a ministry. We're trying to help folks. And that's what we do. And because we care about this country and we care about these people. And I think you do as well. So please pray for us. And if you feel led to help us, I'll give you an opportunity to do that at the end of the show here. You can go to pastortodd.org. That's pastortodd.org. I want to, because time's running out here, I want to play the next video here, and then I'll talk about it when we come out of the video. So here's another situation where it looks like an absolute war zone. Totally burned. I mean, this is not Gaza. This is not a war zone. This is Los Angeles, California.
Nothing. Motor, I'm assuming, doesn't work anymore, of course.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work, buddy.
It's pretty bad. I don't even have a mask, but I think I'm just gonna... Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, it just completely went down.
It looks like a bomb. I mean, that looks like it was hit with some type of missile. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just asking what it looks like.
Really bad.
Look at this. This is an American city. This is the second biggest city in America. My goodness, friends. The second, I mean, what is it going to take? This is what we've been saying. Mario and I have been saying this on Firepower, but what is it going to take to awaken some folks? There's still a large portion of people right now that are just going to think, oh, this is probably global warming. It's probably climate change. They're not going to think much of what's going on. Meanwhile, when you talk to the folks and you hear the real reporting on the ground from citizen journalists and folks like myself that go on the ground and talk to the people, and you hear their testimonies, and their whole life is upended. I mean, what's going on in North Carolina? A lot of people are saying, well, no one reported on this stuff in North Carolina like they're doing in Los Angeles. Well, first of all, Los Angeles is the second biggest city in America and one of the biggest cities in the world. The state of California is, like I said, what is it, the fourth or fifth largest economy in the world? It might be the fifth. I think it's the fifth. I might have said the fourth earlier, but still, I mean, one of the biggest economies in the world. And then you have, but I'm not trying to diminish or minimize what happened in Carolina. It's just the thing is there's going to be more people on the ground reporting because of the sheer number of folks that live there compared to the people that live in the Carolina mountains. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to see more reporting, is just because there's so many more people. And so there's more reporters, there's more citizen journalists. It's the second biggest city in America. But nevertheless, I think we need to continue to report on Carolina as well and remember those folks. And I pray that the minute President Trump gets in, he sends an aid package to those folks, because they're in dire need in Carolina. And there's been some other disasters that have, there's people that right now you're probably be watching this show and you say, what about where I'm at? Tornadoes that have devastated parts of the South, Tulsa and Texas. And, there's other, natural disasters that also this government, this administration has just really dropped the ball because they, all they seem to care about is Ukraine. So, all right, let's go to the next one. I believe this is, let's go ahead and see what this is. I think it's arsonists that are setting fires in Los Angeles.
We're at 302 Pico, and people are lighting fires now. You can see they lit a fire. These guys, not all the people there, but some of those guys lit that fire, and they're actually, the trees caught fire, and then the palms are catching fire. So civilians are now lighting fires down in the so-called, flats around Santa Monica, Venice. So be safe out there. Fire department's been dispatched. We don't have enough water to put this thing out, but we're supposedly on the way.
So you got a city that's next to the Pacific Ocean that doesn't have enough water to put out the fire. There's lakes, there's reservoirs. You got Pyramid Lake, you got Castaic Lake, other lakes in the LA area. Very easy for them to scoop that water up. I think they're inundated. I think they're trying to do their best. The conditions have been bad with the winds. We know a helicopter pilot that lives in the area, and he, his life is always on the line. I mean, he puts himself right in the middle of some of the most dangerous conditions to fly imaginable. It's like going through a war zone. And, maybe missiles aren't being, lobbed at you, but you got fire and smoke and visibility challenges. And then when you have something like this windstorm that they've been dealing with, and I've heard the winds have calmed down, but the winds have been extremely high. So now you have these, just crazy people, criminals that's take an opportunity here and say, hey, let's light this on fire, and, you got gang members and just people that just don't really care. And they're lighting other structures on fire, and they're inundated. The LA fire is inundated. They don't have water. They can't get, engines out to these places. There's people looting. And this is what happens in this type of scenario where there's a breakdown of, law and order. And I mean, people just don't have the ability to respond. There's not enough first responders. So we got to pray for these guys. We got to pray for everybody in these areas. It's just absolutely devastating. Like I said, I was up last night just praying and, talking and texting with people that have lost everything. And it's just, we knew that things like this were coming, and we don't even know what's ahead. Again, not to fear, not to get depressed about it, not to have anxiety, but we are in a fifth generational war. I really believe we are. I believe there's one more, and then I want to get to a Joe Rogan episode that's totally off topic, but let's go ahead and look at the car view from Pacific Palisades.
Okay, I guess let's park along this street, yeah? And then, Dave, if you can just go ahead of us and try to set up a signal.
Right here. This is where it's got to be. This is, oh my God. What? I've never, look at this. Beyond comprehension.
So that video is right there up at Pacific Palisades. I've driven by that area many times over the years. All these areas. I know these areas very well. I mean, this is the city that I used to live in for most of my life. So know all these areas. And when I can't explain enough, these are the highest value real estate in Los Angeles, which is already a very expensive city. So even if you buy like in the San Fernando Valley or Valencia or, Santa Clarita, whatever, those houses are expensive compared to most of the country. But the areas that we're showing you are the highest of the high. Pacific Palisades, where the celebrities, Hollywood Hills, these, Malibu. This is the most expensive real estate in the country. Maybe a few other places like the Hamptons and, a few other places where you're going to see real estate like this, but it's not that many. This is some of the most high valued real estate in the country, absolutely decimated. Where are these folks going to go? And by the way, there's been reports, I think it was James Woods that reported on this, but he lives in the area. And he was saying that his insurance was canceled only, a few weeks ago. So that's very strange. Why? Did these insurance companies see that there was about to be a major issue? Did they know that, as we've heard reported tonight for years, that they've been sounding the alarm about this brush and all this stuff that hasn't been cleared, that could have been cleared? They saw a real tinderbox there. and they knew that it was a perfect storm, and here we are. And some of these folks have had their insurance canceled. So this is a catastrophe. Well, listen, before we go on to the next video, I just want to say thank you for enduring this. I know it's very heavy. Trust me, it doesn't delight me any to report on this. This is some of the worst stuff that I've had to report on. And my heart is heavy. And like I said, I've had a hard time sleeping, and we've been dealing with this last 24 hours, but I really wanted you to be up to date and up to speed about what's going on in Southern California, in the Los Angeles area with regard to these fires, so we can be praying. The next step is rebuilding, helping these folks that are in dire need. We know some families personally that have lost everything. Some of them are evangelists. Some of them are in the ministry. Some of them are people that are, very amazing people of God. And we want to help them. And so here at Todd Coconato Ministries, we are going to write a check, several checks to these folks and try to help them in the, I'm not saying that we can do a lot, but we're going to do our best. And if you would like to be a part of that, we're going to put a fund up on our page. If you go to toddcoconato.com/give, and you can give, and just in the notes on any of those, just say that this is for the fire, or you can email me and let me know that it's for the fire at pastortodd.org. And we'll make sure to allocate those funds for these fire victims. I mean, I'm not putting together a lot, like I said, there's other organizations like Samaritan's Purse and others that are going to be on the ground probably there soon, but we always like to do our part and just do something, because how can you not, right? How can you not? So, this ministry is always active when it comes to these types of things. And I don't put it all over social media or anything like that. But, if you're a regular listener and you just say, hey, I want to help, we will make sure that we do, especially these families. I want to, send some money to these families that we know personally. And so you can go to toddcoconato.com/give. And let's pray. Let's go ahead and pray. And then there's going to be some good news here. Thank God. So, Lord, we just thank you for today's broadcast. It's very heavy. We realize we're in a much greater battle than we're probably even able to explain today. It's a spiritual battle, one of light versus darkness. It's for the very soul of this country. And we are at war. And I believe that, Lord, we're going to win this. But, Lord, I do believe we got to take a righteous stand. The church has to repent. We've got to come out from among them. We cannot be the same that we've been the last 30 plus years. We've got to take very seriously the very real battle that we are in. And we are in, like I said, a spiritual battle, Lord. So be with us. Be with these people. Be with these first responders, these fire department officials and people that are out there, firefighters on the front line. Put a shield around them, Lord. Protect them. Order their steps. Put your guardian angels around them. I pray that there is no further loss of life. I pray that these fires get contained faster, almost miraculously fast, even with all that's against these people right now, and the loss of water, lack of water, and all that, Lord. And so we just thank you. I pray everybody watching right now would not be discouraged, even in the midst of this, but that we would find that peace that passes understanding, and that we would trust in you and lean not on our own understanding. And so we just thank you, Lord, that this and every other assignment of the enemy, even leading up to this inauguration, would be thwarted and canceled in Jesus' name. Let these assignments of the enemy, plans, plots, schemes, everything that they're trying to do, I pray that they be thwarted and canceled. And we just thank you right now in the name of Yeshua. Amen. Amen. So we're going to continue to take a stand as we always do. Thank you for being partners with us. Thank you for helping us to do what we do. Even these broadcasts cost, money to put together, to edit, to get out here. We got to pay all these different things to get this information out. It's David versus Goliath, and you are the remnant. You are the fuel that helps us do these things. And of course, we need your prayers. We need your prayers. So thank you for praying. We will have our regular service this week on Friday night, even though it's supposed to snow here in Nashville. We are going to be there, even if it's 2 people, but I believe there's going to be a lot of people. A very important message to get out there. Also, we have Rick Renner coming to Remnant Revival Church on the 24th. If you can get here, get here. The 25th, we're going to have Rabbi Kurt Landry that's going to be here, and special guests. So come on out, 24th, 25th here in Nashville. And then we have Dr. Rodney Howard Brown coming on February 7th to Remnant Revival Church. And I don't know if we're going to stream that, because he's saying that I don't think they want it streamed. So if we don't stream it, you got to be there in person to see what the Lord does that night. So it's going to be very important. And I apologize to our online audience. I'd love to stream it, but we have to adhere to the wishes of Dr. Rodney Hart-Brown, which I believe him and the ministry are asking us not to stream it that particular night. So I apologize, but if you can get here. It's going to be an important night. So the 24th, 25th, and then the 7th of February, and every night at Remnant Revival Church is important. We have our Sunday service that we broadcast each week, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. And we speak to this online Remnant community. We have the Remnant Core group. We have the Todd Coconato radio show where we do 2 shows each week. And we do this show, which is the Todd Coconato Show. And it's on Real Life Network, which we thank Mr. Jack Hibbs, Pastor Jack Hibbs, for putting us on. And we appreciate what he is doing at Real Life Network. And so thank you if you're watching us on Real Life Network. We appreciate you. If you're watching us elsewhere on social media, we appreciate you. Please help us by liking and sharing this video. And also, if you feel inclined to support the ministry, we would appreciate that. You can go to pastortodd.org or toddcoconato.com/give. All right, we're going to end the show now with some good news. Joe Rogan, which has the biggest podcast in the world, just had a man by the name of, it looks like Wesley Huff. And this man shared the gospel of Jesus Christ. And this show is one of the most downloaded shows, and millions of people. It may be the all-time record for the gospel being shared. I want to just show you a few minutes of it if you haven't seen it. So let's go ahead and watch this right now.
Changes the course of human history. This thing changes the direction, that the ideology that these people subscribe to, and the moral and ethical structure that they live their life by. It changes untold billions of human beings from that point on.
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
That in itself, even if this is just a revelation without a divine interaction, that's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
It's a miracle that it was created at all. Like the whole idea that Christianity, when you're saying that the book of, was it the book of Isaiah?
Yeah.
That the same book is exactly the same as, like, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
If you just imagine the sheer number of illiterate people, the sheer number of days that have to go by where people are telling the story exactly the same, and that it's entrusted in the hands of these very few people that are so dedicated to it that they get the exact words right 1,000 years later. Pretty bananas.
Well, I mean, that is kind of the crazy thing about Christianity, where you have this Jewish itinerant guy who's walking around first century Roman occupied Judea. He's making some pretty audacious claims to be God himself, and then he predicts his own death and resurrection. And then his disciples they think it's over. Like, they're like, he's dead, we're done.
Yeah.
And then they go from 11, scared men, because Judas commits suicide, scared men in an upper room, to completely overhauling the Roman world in only a couple hundred years, because of this claim that they say they saw Jesus resurrected. Like, there's something different that goes on there, that they're like, this is a miracle, right? Dead people don't usually rise from the dead.
So what is your personal belief when it comes to the resurrection? What do you think do you have a belief, or do you just try to interpret the text and try to see what is the message?
Well, I think, so as a historian, I do think it is a historical question. You have a guy who objectively lived, he objectively died, and then individuals close to his inner circle claim that they see him not dead.
Right.
Again.
This is a highly unusual activity.
Highly unusual.
Right. So, but it's hard when you're dealing with illiterate populations, you're dealing with thousands of years of time, you're dealing with an oral tradition, and then you have us sitting here talking about it in 2024, trying to figure it at the end of 2024, trying to figure this out. Literally the end.
Yeah.
Last couple of days. It's very difficult for anybody who thinks of themselves as an intelligent person who's secular to even entertain the possibility that someone died and come back to life.
And I get that. But we've already talked about the fact that we don't think that the only thing that exists is matter and motion. We, as in you and I, right? Like, we believe that there's something else going on in this world that's a little bit crazy.
There's something else.
And that to, I think, exclude that, I think excludes something that you're kind of putting blinders on. For. And you do have, I mean, you're right in terms of all of these ancient conventions and the ways that things were spread around. But the Gospels are written in the lifetime of the eyewitnesses. And they're written in this period of time where you have groups of individuals who could have fact-checked those things. So
how do you fact-check someone coming back from the dead?
Well,
how many people saw his body, right?
Well, Paul says that 400 people saw him all at once.
400 people saw the crucifixion?
No, saw the resurrected Jesus. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 15.
So it's interesting. You got Joe Rogan, who we'll try to, I think we'll bleep it out what he said. He's using the F-bomb. But the thing is, we're in an interesting time right now. So Joe Rogan, biggest podcast in the world. I think this guy's on his way to being saved. What do you think? I think, look at Elon Musk. And I know people say, oh, I don't like Elon, or I don't trust Elon. I get it. Trust me. I don't like the things he's doing with transhumanism and the brain chips and some of the other stuff. But what would happen if Elon Musk got radically saved? What would happen if Joe Rogan got radically saved? Well, we've seen this happen with Russell Brand and a few other pretty amazing people that have now turned their lives around and caught the fire of God. So we are in unprecedented times, and it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. At the same time, there's two revolutions that are going on. There's the one in the world, and then there's the Jesus revolution. I believe that this remnant group, we're meant to be part of the Jesus revolution and to go out and make disciples of the nations. That's why we are focusing on evangelism and making disciples of the nations. And that's what we're going to do, friends. So we appreciate you. And we thank you, and we will continue to report the truth and be watchmen. Thank you for watching the Todd Coconato Show. Again, you can go to my website, pastortodd.org, and we will be back next week. Join us for Friday service and Sunday service and the other broadcasts. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.